Okay, well, this is a huge episode we're just about to record, isn't it, Louise? It's to celebrate your 10 years with Consalia. Who would have thought we would have made that?
Who would have thought? Yes.
Anyway, welcome to the Sales Transformation Podcast to celebrate the last 10 years. So why don't we start right at the very beginning? And, how come you joined us all those years ago? Because I think that in itself is quite an interesting piece of the jigsaw.
Yeah. Okay. So before I joined Consalia, I was working at Sony Mobile, heading up their sales academy or commercial academy. And we had introduced the Executive Masters program for the top talent as a program for the top talent globally within Sony Mobile. And so that's really how I first came across Consalia, because I was looking for a program we could bring in. I attended a session, to promote the program, which was being run by Ian in Westminster on a very cold November morning, I remember. I nearly didn't go because it was such a cold, wet November morning. But anyway, just hearing about the Exec Masters program, I was immediately inspired, because there was so much about that program, the philosophy of the program, which really resonated with me in terms of my coaching practice, and in particular about reflective practice and critical thinking and the work-based learning element. So really inspired what I heard. And then, to cut a long story short, we brought Consalia into Sony Mobile and ran the Exec Masters program. And then as that was coming to an end, and as the Commercial Academy was being reviewed by Sony, because they were Chinese incumbents coming in and bringing Sony down in terms of mobile phone sales, the Academy Director role became available at Consalia. So we had a big conversation about it, and here I am, and it has been 10 years. So I probably didn't think I'd be here for 10 years when we first spoke about coming into to take on that Academy Director role. And at the time, I think there were 2 cohorts running on the Exec Masters.
Right, yeah, I know.
So huge difference now in our student numbers from when I joined. And of course, all the apprenticeship programs and the coaching programs, so lots happened.
Lots happened.
But that's how I'm here. I'm here because of the Exec Masters, really.
Yeah. No, it was in a way, it was a happy coincidence that, I don't know if it's coincidence, but the situation you had at Sony, I think Geraldine, who was heading up the academy at the time, she was ready to step down, and so amazing.
Serendipitous, really.
It was serendipitous. That was the word I was looking for.
Yeah.
It started off really small. At that time in Consalia's business, the academic side of what we're doing was quite a small part of what we did. And there was certainly some sort of challenges on the way and to try and grow it into what it is today. So do you want to talk us through what some of those early challenges were, and apart from working with film?
To remember them, but okay. So obviously, when I joined, the apprenticeship levy had been announced, and we saw this as a real opportunity to develop a degree program in business-to-business sales, and it just aligned with Consalia's mission to professionalize sales. And there hasn't been a degree program, there still isn't a degree program in sales that isn't an apprenticeship in England or in the UK. And, very much one of the things we felt was important to help professionalize sales was to have an academic program, a degree program, to help young people enter sales by choice, not by falling into it once they've done a marketing degree, but by choosing to do a degree in sales. So it was a really fantastic opportunity to develop the degree apprenticeship. But, you know, even putting the bid into the government was the first challenge because they didn't recognise sales as a profession. They, I don't know if you remember, Phil, but we put the bid in for the business-to-business sales degree, and they came back saying we should be looking at the trade sales.
The
level.
retail,
Yeah.
whatever it was.
Yeah,
Yeah.
oh, it was trade sales initially.
Was it trade
yeah.
sales?
So, you know, we had to really work hard with the government to help them appreciate the complexity of business-to-business sales, and that it did reach the level that was required for a degree-level program. And we did that through the support of the Trailblazer Group, which was the most amazing group of seasoned sales professionals, sales leaders who were also passionate about developing sales as a profession and wanting to have a degree in sales. So, I mean, when I think about that Trailblazer Group, I always smile because those meetings were incredible. Just getting everybody in the room with so much passion and enthusiasm and commitment. And it really did need commitment because there were so many challenges along the way in developing the apprenticeship. But everyone kept going and persevered and, you know, and we got there, but it was a much harder slog, and I think slog is the right word, than we ever thought it would be, to develop the program. So we put the bid in April 2016. We got approval of the standard at the end of that year. And then developing the assessment plan just took...
That was the big one, wasn't it?
And the funding, because initially they gave us reduced funding, so we had to appeal on the funding. So there were many hurdles, as you said, to really get the degree program up and running. But we started our first cohort in the February of 2018. And, you know, that's another day I just remember so clearly when we were sat in the room at Middlesex University waiting for the apprentices to come into the room, and then just seeing them all come in and appreciating it really was happening, because we honestly at some point, we didn't think it might.
I mean, just a couple of things to add to what you were saying, because I was part of the Trailblazer Group. I think we were, I mean, you were project leading that whole group, but Consalia was there as an SME, you know, sort of taking the voice of the SME. What was interesting, because you had some very large corporates there and you had some very strongly opinionated people. But actually, when it came to defining the knowledge, skills and behaviours that you needed to, you know, create the standard, it was surprisingly, it just came together, I thought, fairly well. I didn't think there was too many egos that got into that process that said, no, that's rubbish or whatever.
I remember the first meeting, it was kind of like, well, we don't call it that, and this is the way we do it, and this is our sales methodology, and this is ours, and there was so many views coming up. And then I think, you know, Graham Davis was the chair, and he was just like, we're going to have to compromise to make this work. And as soon as that kind of was set as the way forward, everybody did. And then we decided to kind of go with the, I guess the sales, a kind of traditional sales cycle to develop the knowledge, skills and behaviours. But the first meeting I was like, oh, this might be tricky. But then it just moved forward, and they were a fantastic group.
No, they really were. It was a fun group to work with. But you also mentioned how you get into evidence the knowledge, skills and behaviours, and that was quite tricky, that part of it as well. I know that caused you a few sleepless nights perhaps, but you know, you did it.
Well, the group did it. It was, you know, I wrote about the Trailblazer Group being a real community of practice. It really was a great and everybody learned, you know, people. I remember when we were talking about, you know, using digital selling and leveraging digital selling became one of the skills, and or digital skills. And I just remember Graham and some of the leaders of sales learning from those who were there, talking about how they use digital selling already. So there was a great learning going on even in the Trailblazer Group, which was fantastic.
No, it was. It's a big moment, and at a personal level, I remember when we got that letter. I think from is it IFATE?
It was IFATE.
Was it
at the time.
IFATE at the time? And saying that it had been approved, and for me that was just massive.
It was huge.
Yeah,
really,
it was
really
a great start. So that was in when 2000 and.
So that we got the standard approved for development in 2016.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then launched in 2018.
Yeah.
And I think since then, the program has grown. And I know that you've sort of done a resume of some of the achievements in the 10 years since you joined. So I wonder if you could just talk through some of those achievements.
Wow. So what was really interesting when we had launched the level 6, the degree apprenticeship, was that, obviously we were involving line managers in the tripartite reviews and talking to them about the program. And our apprentices were going back to the organisations with their work-based projects and talking about some of the frameworks that they had learnt about on the program. That we realised that there was a demand, or many of the sales leaders were saying we would like to do something similar. So we also put in a bid to, tailor what was already existing as a senior leader apprenticeship to be one for senior sales leaders to really pick up on the challenges that sales leaders have. And so we developed that program, and we started that also at the end of 2018, which was fantastic. So then we did get some of the managers of the apprentices on our level 6 coming onto the level 7.
Right.
Which just felt right to me, that they were learning also about some of the frameworks, but also really developing their own leadership skills through being on the senior sales leader program. So that was fantastic. And obviously we've kept that going. We've kept both programs going in parallel until, last year when we heard that there was going to be the defunding of the senior leader program, which is heartbreaking, but that's where we are. So we've got our last few cohorts just finishing on that program. But that was 2018. So it was a big year, starting level 6 and
starting level. So I thought it was the year after we started.
Yeah, no, it was at the end of
that year. So that's a hell of a lot that was achieved in 2018.
Yeah, and then we had COVID.
Yeah.
So that was huge.
Yeah.
And obviously, very, very quickly, we had to learn how to develop our workshop content, which is all being developed for face-to-face workshops.
Yeah.
Which we, is always our preference to bring everybody together in the room and have fantastic conversations about whatever content we're delivering. But we had to modify that for online learning. So we learned very quickly how to do that. And, the request came through very clearly from all the employers that we really must keep this going for all their apprentices because it was so critical for them.
Was there a legal obligation for us to do that? Because when you enter we had to do it. I mean, we had no choice.
No, I think you're right. We would have had to have done it because if you can't deliver, you need to find a solution. So obviously the solution was to move it all online. But it was really tough for those that started the program online. They hadn't had the opportunity to bond with their cohort, to really get to know them. And for the cohorts that were involved at the beginning of COVID, they only then got to a face-to-face workshop in year 3. So they'd gone through 2 years of, online learning.
Incredible.
So much harder for them.
It's not easy to do a 2-day workshop online, as we know. I mean, in terms of, just interfacing with a screen. Yes, you've got that virtual connection with the tutor, but it's hard.
Yeah, I know. And obviously we couldn't do 2 days, so you broke it into chunks and tried to spread it out so that they could achieve the same level of of learning. But that was quite something. During that period, I also started my doctorate, which was quite exciting, on a personal level, to be able to begin that. And I found that really helpful during COVID. It was something to turn to, when you couldn't do very much. It was, walking or reading, really, wasn't it? So, I don't know, it was very good to really get stuck into thinking about, my thesis. So that was quite...
Yes, I was writing the book at the time.
Yeah.
And I decided to write. But you're right, that pandemic did give us options to do other things. But it's incredibly quickly that you did your doctorate.
It was 2 years.
2 years.
Because it was really developed through the public works, which were the apprenticeships. So that, is recognised as being a part of the research. So you're critiquing what you've delivered rather than doing new research.
Yeah.
So that was helpful. In fact, when I went to see what I could do, I thought I would see if I could do a master's programme. And Darryl Bramble said, no, you could try and do a doctorate. And I said, can I do it in a year?
A year?
Yeah, I said, I only want to do a year. And he said, yeah. But of course you can't. So I might not have started if I'd known it was to. But I actually think it's been incredibly helpful to have done that, to then support our apprentices who were going through their programmes. Right. I could really relate to the challenge of working and studying, working and doing quite an intensive programme of work. So it has helped me, I think, really appreciate what they're going through when they've had some stressful times. So I completed that in 2023, which was fantastic. And I think during that time, our students were starting to come back, which was really good. And we'd also developed a level 5 coaching program.
Yeah.
Coaching being something which I really believe in, the benefits of setting up a coaching culture within your team or organisation, and just really providing that coaching support on a daily basis from a leader or a manager to their team. So I was absolutely thrilled that we could get this program off the ground, and so we run this level 5 coaching for sales, which any of our students who've been on that program have really enjoyed.
Absolutely.
Which has been fantastic. And on that note, the coaching module that we have in our level 7 program has always been one of the ones that's perhaps whet the appetite for people to then come and do this level 5 coaching program, so they can get their own coaching accreditation. So that's another program that we brought into the academy, which has been fantastic. And then, because apprenticeships came under the kind of remit of Ofsted, we also had to embrace an Ofsted inspection, which we had our first full Ofsted inspection in February 2024, which is another one of those moments when your heart stops when you get the letter saying, right, we're coming in. Or in fact, it was a call, wasn't it? You got the call.
I think so.
You got the phone call.
Yeah.
And so that was quite an intensive week, but with the most amazing outcome.
It was incredible. Yeah, I know that the team were totally overwhelmed, blown over, I think, by the feedback they were getting from the employers and from the students.
Yeah.
It was just amazing.
Yeah.
A lot of work. But actually, I think they quite enjoyed being here as well. Sat in the conference room for a day or two.
It was more than a day or two.
Was it?
No, it was 3 days.
Was it 3 days? Okay.
I think everyone was blown away by the support that came from the employers and the apprentices. Right. Absolutely fantastic. And so Ofsted Outstanding, which has to be up there as a huge achievement, I think, for the whole academy.
Yeah.
And Consalia. And we learned a lot from it as well. I think, or have learned through adapting to how many different ways you are audited, in effect, through the apprenticeships, because there are many bodies which
take an interest
and lots of reporting back and lots of reviews. So that's always been something we've had to take on board, which of course when I joined wasn't part of the role at all for other than the university quality processes. So that was 2024. And then Skills England also started to form at the back end of 2024, second half of 2024. So we knew changes were coming as a result of that. But yeah, 2025 was, I guess, when they defunded the level 7. So that was, it was heartbreaking.
Big blow.
It was heartbreaking.
I mean, it is.
Such an amazing program, not just for us, but for so many training providers. And, I totally understand why, there is an emphasis on bringing in younger people into training, employment. It is really important with so many people who are not in education, training, or employment. But for me, if you bring so many people in, you've got to have the right leadership and coaching support, just as I've been talking about. So to just remove that funding, and also for the employers who had brought that program in to their their sort of development of their own employees, that was a significant, to take that away from them. It's been quite hard, I think, for a number of people to adjust to that.
Yeah.
But I do feel that all these young people who are going to hopefully be coming into whatever apprenticeship program they start, they still need the right leadership support.
Yeah.
And somehow that just is gone. Well, the funding is gone for that. And I know, Skills England and the government want employers to manage that internally, but they're putting so many pressures on employers in other ways that we know that learning and development is going to be one of the areas. Well, we know already that it's being hit.
Yeah.
So it's just, to me, it just seems so short-sighted. Because
I agree.
How can you, we've seen it through the apprenticeships. We've seen it through talking to the employers. If you have the right support for your apprentice, that makes the difference in whether an apprenticeship is successful or not. I called it the apprenticeship environment in my doctorate.
Yeah.
It is so important to have the right environment for an apprentice to thrive, to make sure they can put all that theory into practice. You've got to have the right people supporting the apprentice for it to work.
Yeah.
And that's where I feel there's potentially a gap emerging.
I mean, they can still do the masters, they can still do the postgrad cert program, they can still do the coaching, ILM, but of course it doesn't have the levy funding.
Doesn't have the levy
funding. The cost to the employer are going to be higher, that's for sure.
So we'll see. I'm sure that a gap will start to emerge, and then hopefully people will start to appreciate that they have to, as you say, fund it themselves if they can. But it's a tough environment out there, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
So, but then this year, what we put in motion in 2025 but launched this year was our level 4 pathway.
Yeah.
So that apprentices who have completed the level 4 sales executive apprenticeship can join our level 6 program in year 2, because we mapped the KSBs and the learning from the level 4 onto our first year of our level 6 program. And through the last validation program with the university, agreed a pathway into year 2. So we had our first intake on this level 4 pathway into level 6 in February this year. And that was so exciting. I think going back to why did we develop the apprenticeship?
Yeah.
We always wanted to set up a career pathway in sales through the apprenticeships. And we're doing that. So, we've got the level 4 pathway into the level 6. Other apprenticeships that are out there are the level 3. That's going to be redeveloped, as is the level 4, but we'll still have that pathway to enable those that have done those earlier apprenticeships to come on to the level 6 if they want to and their employers support them. And, I am just, to me, it's just like, we've done it. We've got that pathway now, that career pathway that takes them all the way up to the degree level. And,
And we've got this great partnership
It's
going
exciting.
with TAC-TMI as well,
Yes,
I think.
yes.
And that's also interesting to sort of collaborate in the training and development world with
Yeah.
others that have been specialising in other parts of the learning journeys.
Yeah, that's right, in the
Yeah.
4 or earlier
Yeah.
sales apprenticeships. So, it's fantastic. So you can go all the way through to degree level, and obviously our degree, again, another partnership is with Middlesex University, who we deliver
Yeah.
the exec masters and postgraduate programs with. So, I'm really excited because the apprentices who have come on this level 4 pathway are loving it and really have said how much they're learning from. I guess you've got a greater opportunity in the level 6 program. You've got more work-based projects to put that learning into practice, the theory into practice. Every module has a project. Every module requires them to put that theory into practice. And just hearing them talk about it is, it's just very rewarding, to be honest.
So are there any can anyone do it, come on to the level 6, having done a level 4? So if they've done level 4, or are there certain barriers to them coming onto the level 6 programme?
No, so in theory, yes. We do have a look at their, a couple of examples from their learning journals, and look at their project or case studies from level 4, and that is part of the application process. But
anyone can
and
do it.
obviously employers supported because it's going through the levy.
But irrespective of how long they've been in sales for, do you still need to have 4 to 5 years experience?
The key thing is that they're going to be learning
New skills. Okay.
and new knowledge. So it really depends on the role and their experience that they've been in on their level 4 program.
Yes.
We have to evidence that it's all about new knowledge and new skills.
Okay. Right. So I know you've been doing some maths on the number of students we now have.
Oh, yeah.
Is it the right point to bring that in? Because it just shows from those early cohorts where we had, 20 people, 17, can't remember.
No, we started smaller and then we built it up.
We built it up.
Yeah, I think, me, Phil, I'll always want to make sure it works before we kind of go in with too many students. So we did start smaller. So what's, lovely to kind of, as you go through the numbers, is to appreciate that we've got over 250 graduates now from the business to business sales degree, which is the B2B sales professional apprenticeship. And they're the graduates. And we've also got, another sort of over 200 that are currently on the programs. So typically we have 2 to 3 cohorts going through the degree program each year. But what's also fantastic is when you're on LinkedIn and you suddenly see where some of these earlier graduates have moved. Some of them are with the same organisation, some aren't, but they've all had fantastic progression. Yeah. And even more heartwarming is the fact that they'll still respond to some of our posts about the program, saying what a great start in their career it gave them. So as well as the numbers, I just love hearing what's happening to all the alumni, I have to say. And then on our level 7 program, we've got over 90 graduates now. Yeah. Obviously, the numbers are now winding down, so we'll get to over 100 senior sales leaders. Yeah. Probably about 120, I think it'll be, before the funding stops. And similarly, lots of referrals, lots of support for their apprentices. I have to also mention the Exec Masters program, because that's continued.
It is.
we've grown the cohorts with those two.
Yeah.
So, you know, the exec masters is still a professional practice master's program, so very much an emphasis on the work-based projects. And they go all the way through to that master's level with their own thesis at the end. So some fantastic research projects which come out of that program, which all really, you know, they do all support their organisations. And, you know, I know you have many on your mastercast. So
yes, that's right. I love the mastercast, just hearing what those final projects are and the innovation that you see. Across all sorts of different topics.
And I tell you what we haven't mentioned, which you just reminded me about, is the Peter Crichton Award.
I know. Yes.
Yeah. So of course we had the Peter Crichton Award, which I think was in 2023 or 22 actually.
I can't remember when we had it the first time.
Which really takes, as you say, that innovation from those master's projects and follows through to see, so what have they done?
Yeah.
What I love about that is the so what. So you did that research and what happened?
Yeah.
And what's it really done for your organisation? So that was a fantastic award that we set up.
Yes.
And we've had some absolutely brilliant submissions. And again, it just helps you follow through what in this case, the students are doing once they finish their programme. And how they are still taking the learning forward, and to use a Peter Crichton term, you know, generating that learning reach and that ripple effect of the learning. So it's just, when you read about it, you just think, and we helped them do this.
Yeah.
You know, we contributed to this happening, and it's just such a good feeling, isn't it?
It is.
You know?
I think I think we share the same feelings about it's sort of helping people unlock their potential.
Yeah.
And we provide, I think, a fantastic environment for them to do that, where they feel it's a safe environment for them to learn new skills, you know, the cohorts are always very supportive of each other. But it's when you see examples of people reaching now I mean, we've got lots of managing directors now who have been through the masters. We've got people on main boards of publicly quoted companies. I mean, so I think that we could say that you know, it's been a highly successful intervention for the students to have gone through it and benefited as they've done.
Yeah, and I think, you know, you just made me think that, again, whilst it's hard work, it does give people opportunity to step back and think, you know, the whole critical reflection, but also the action research projects, which we, you know, are key part of the pedagogy of the programs. It changes the way they think. It helps them think more deeply, but I think it gives them that opportunity. They have to make the time to do the thinking. Which, as we know in this kind of the VUCA world, the busy world we're in,
is hard.
So it's almost you're providing an opportunity, and they might, you know, yes, they have to make the time, but you're providing an opportunity for them to really look at things through a different lens, make the time to be more collaborative with their teams and work as a team with their teams. And, but it is incredible when you look at the progression of all those students on all our programs, actually. And a lot of them will still say that they continue in that deep reflective practice, that it's made such a difference to them.
Yeah. So can we talk about the future in any way, Louise, and, you know, the evolution of the programme, because I know that we're going through a process at the moment to...
Yeah, well, it's really interesting, obviously, with AI. So we have gone through all the level 6, all the modules for our B2B sales apprenticeship program, and have identified where we can obviously talk to them more about AI and how it's being used within sales relevant to those modules, but also in the assessments, how they can use AI for the assessments ethically and correctly, So we've threaded AI through every single module, which I think is fantastic.
Yeah.
So I do feel like we always review the modules. Actually, every time we deliver them, there'll always be some feedback, and we make sure that what we're passing on to the apprentices is relevant and current. But we've given it this major kind of let's just check everything and where should we be using AI. So I'm really thrilled that we've got clear structure of the use of AI to use it correctly, wisely, ethically, and obviously that ties into the intellectual authenticity mindset that you've came up out of your research, which is fantastic. So I think, and that's something we'll have to, because AI is changing so much and changing what we do so much, we will continue to review after each module. Is there still more?
Yeah.
Can we be bringing more in? But I feel that we're there and we're current, which is fantastic. We're obviously looking how we can fill the gap that the Level 7 Senior Sales Lead program is going to leave. And we do have the Exec Masters, and we're, able to deliver that as a postgraduate certificate. So it's under a year of learning, which people can take on, which is the first 3 modules, which are 3 very impactful modules for sales leaders, including the coaching module as module 3.
Yeah.
So people can take that as under a year, so 10 to 11 months. And then if they are really inspired and enthused by that learning, they can then go on to complete it as a master's program. So there's, that's always been there, but we're kind of, certainly trying to promote that more. And we're looking to see if we can bring in another apprenticeship to help, again, fill that gap. And there's a lot we can do around strategic selling and account management. So we're looking to see how we can try and identify the right standard to help with that. The coaching, is still, Level 5 coaching program is still available. So again, we're really trying to do more with that. And so there's a lot we can do, and we need to do, because you really need to help, I think, sales leaders, because we hear how tough it is out there for them in this world. So I think to have the right support through current theories, current frameworks, learning everything that we can do to help people adapt to the changing world of sales, I think is what we need to do. As you say, the future of work it's evolving, and we need to make sure our programs evolve with it. So that's what we're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think it's been the most incredible journey you've been on, Louise, and you must feel, it's been a real accomplishment.
Yeah, it was. It was really lovely to, as you say, to go through year by year and think what happened that year, and then you're like,
I don't know, well done on doing that.
But but yeah, it's a long time. So
it is a long time. I think quite often people say that they don't expect to be at Consalia necessarily for that long, but people surprise themselves that they do. But we do have a fantastic team.
I was just going to say that. Well, we haven't mentioned is the team, and the team is absolutely brilliant. And our tutors across all our programs are sales experts. We bring in people who know the world of sales, and then they start to, we help them to become tutors on the program, and they are really knowledgeable and have all that experience they can pass on. And, we have this, the Consalia way of delivery, so they all coach and have a coaching approach to how we facilitate our modules. And, they're just the best. It's the best team, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is.
And it's, in a way, it's I know Paul was there at the beginning with the Trailblazer group, and he became a program director, and we're going to celebrate his final retirement now, I think.
From the program.
From the program next month, isn't it?
Yeah,
so, but that is also, I think, been a brilliant part of the journey that you've, the people we've collaborated with have been amazing.
Yeah, and they all provide something different.
Yeah,
It's a great
they do.
team.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's great. Well, thank you, Louise, for joining us on
Thank
this episode. Look forward to the next 10 years.
I'm not going to say anything.
You're not going to say anything on that one.
But thanks. Yeah, it's been lovely to kind of reflect and
Yeah.
remember. So thanks.
Yeah.
Paul.